Violence is the bottom line. I read a really good article by a man called Jack Donovan, and his speech, I won't plagiarize it or try and impersonate it or do it disjustice, is called Violence is Golden, I believe. You should be able to Google it and find it if you want to read his version of events. But basically, I was reading these words thinking, I already knew this and I already thought this. Have you ever had one of those situations where you think something your whole life and nobody else really thinks it, and then you see somebody else thinks the exact same thing and it's written in a different way, explained in a different way, but we think the same things? It was really interesting. It was one of them, I'm not the only one moments. And basically, what I'm talking about is violence, and how violence is a universal constant across humanity, always has been, always will be, and how important violence is, and how violence is absolutely necessary, and it's never going to disappear or go away, because violence is needed. So I've had a saying for a long time. My saying is, what they going to do, fight me. And I use it all the time. My girlfriend catches me cheating. Well, what's she going to do, fight me? Like, what are we going to do? And the point of that saying is, unless someone's going to get violent with you, what other repercussions really are there? Everything else is just wish-wash bullshit. Everything else is just talk, just words. If they're not going to put their hands on you, none of it's real. It's just talk. It's just garbage. So this is a saying I've been using for a long time. And the point of my saying is to demonstrate how unimportant the consequences of something is. Girlfriend cheats. What's she going to do? Fight me? Well, she might leave. She might cry. She might complain. But she ain't gonna come up and stab me. Or maybe she'll try. And if she does, I'm very prepared. Any girl tries to fight me, I don't care if I've cheated on you. You try and fight me, you're getting fucked up. You can catch these hands. You can come at me with some knife with this fucking bimbo shit you see in the movies. You cheated. Fucking get the fuck out of here. Talk about cheating. Of course I did. Put the knife down. Or use it to go make me a fucking sandwich. But the point is, if someone's not going to get violent, nothing matters. And Jack, in his essay, made a very, very good point. And the point is that everybody believes in violence. So I guess this is where our points differed a little bit. I thought, well, I understand the reality of how violence is the final straw. Violence is the bottom line. Violence is binary. We either get violent or we don't. If we don't, it doesn't matter. And if we do, let's get violent. All the talk, all that shit is garbage. Jack's point came at it from a slightly different angle. And his point was this. Everybody believes in violence. The biggest pacifist in the world believes in violence. You watching this believes in violence. Everyone believes in violence. Except we live in a society where we've sanitized violence by allowing violence to be committed by other people for us. Violence by proxy. We don't have to kill our own food anymore. They kill the food for us. So we don't have to see the violent part. We just get the meat. And it's exactly the same with everything. If something happens and we need help, we call the police. And we expect the police to be capable of being violent if the need arises. We're not violent ourselves, but we'll call someone else to be violent for us. Imagine the police came and there was an attacker wielding this exact... Imagine I'm at your house and I got this fucking thing. And you call the police and the police get there and go, okay, but we're not allowed to be violent. I say, fuck the police and fuck you, I'm killing everyone here. And they go, okay, well, we're not allowed to be violent. No, you'd be like, what do you mean you're not allowed to be violent? Of course you can be violent. Stop it. Everyone believes in violence. We just believe in violence by proxy. Because without violence by proxy, there's no law. It doesn't matter what the law is. If there's not the underlying threat that violence will happen at some point, nobody will listen to anything. The only reason we live in a society with so little violence is because the threat of violence constantly permeates throughout society. The fact that people can be violent and the police and the state can be violent against you is the reason that things get solved in a non-violent way. You give me a parking ticket. I don't want to pay it. Fuck you. I don't pay it. You add money to the fine. I don't pay it. You threaten me with another court date. I don't show up. You send someone around to ask me why I didn't show up. I tell them to fuck off. The police come and say, look, you've taken the piss with this thing. You need to come to your next court date. No, fuck you. I don't. Then they arrest me. When they try and arrest me and say, you're coming to the police station, I say, no, I don't want to come. I'm not coming. Then what happens? They forcibly, violently grab me, put my hands behind my back, chain me up, and take me to a cell where I'm held against my will with violence. From a parking ticket to violence. That's how it escalates. Now, why do people pay their parking ticket in the first place? Because they know that if they go down that chain, eventually violence happens. So the only reason we live in a non-violent society is people decide, you know what, I'll just pay the fine. They agree to non-violent resolutions because if they don't, they understand eventually there will be a violent resolution. Violence is always the final answer. I'm not saying it's the best answer. I'm not saying it's the only answer, but it is the final answer. The last answer when reasoning fails, when being nice fails, when trying to intimidate people fails, when adding money on top of the fine fails, when talk fails, when all that shit fails, it gets violent. That's the reality of the world. And every single law we have, from parking tickets to tax codes to anything you can think of, is backed with a threat of violence.
You will not spit on me again. Do you understand me?
So if you're going to sit here and deny what I'm saying and pretend what I'm saying isn't true, then you're a moron. It's very, very simple. You believe in violence when you need it. If you're a pussy, you get someone else to do it for you. My question is this. Do you trust the government? Do you trust other people to do violence for you better than you can? When someone breaks into your house, do you want someone else to use violence to protect you, or do you use violence yourself? I have an intimate relationship with violence because I was a professional fighter. But I've always understood how important violence is because it's never going anywhere, and it's the universal constant that underpins our societies. So I want to be good at violence. As should you. You should be good at the number one thing, which is definitely going to exist forever. The number one thing, which is used to control who you are, where you go, how you think, and what you do, is a threat of violence. You need to be comfortable with violence. I'm not saying you have to be a violent person, but you need to be comfortable with it. So that's why fighting is so important. That's why pacifists are full of shit. And if you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'm going to get violent. I don't like being questioned. As a man, I don't get questioned. Like, my girlfriend sometimes goes, what you up to? Or where are you? Or what you doing? And I tell, sometimes I'll tell her, but like I'll make fun of her. I'll say, I'm only going to tell you what's going down if you're behaving yourself. If you give me any kind of attitude in the last 2 weeks, I don't answer policing questions. You don't need to know about me. I'm a stallion. I'm rogue. Where are you? Hey, what you up to? The fuck's it got to do with you? Are you about to put money in my bank? Do you need to meet me to hand me cash? Because if not, why the fuck does it matter to you where I am and what I'm doing? Well, I'm just being polite. You ain't being polite. You're trying to intrude on my fucking life. You can ask me something else, like, how are you so sexy? You want to know something. How are you so fucking smart, Andrew? Why is your dick so big? Ask me that. Don't be asking me what I'm up to. If you want to see me, say, I want to see you. So I don't like questions in general. But what I hate most are pointless questions. And what you'll see a lot, and people don't notice this shit, because people go through life in a daze of moronity, where they just watch the Kardashians and listen to Coldplay, and they're in a little fucking daze of, I'm stupid, and tomorrow I get to meet with my aunt for dinner, and I'm excited. And they're just, people are fucking lame. But if you're cerebral enough to listen to the words people say to you, 9 times out of 10, the questions they ask you are bullshit. How are you? Fine. I'm dying. I forgot to tell you I have leukemia. You don't care. But even worse than that, because that's obviously a general one. The other day I was eating some KFC. I eat KFC because real G's eat KFC. McDonald's is bullshit. Burger King, you get a big ass Whopper. KFC, fried chicken. Fucking McDonald's. Oh, you can have a fillet of fish burger. Bullshit for homos. So I was eating my KFC like a G. Anyway, some dude I know, I'm in the mall, he walks by, oh, Tate, how you? Yeah, fine. Started with the first pointless question. Sits down. He goes, what's that? I had like one of these new star-shaped KFC things. He goes, what's that? I said, oh, it's KFC. He goes, yeah, but what is it? I said, it's a Crunch Wrap Supreme. And he goes, oh, right. It's like, does that make you feel any better? Have I enlightened you? Do you now have a better understanding of what is in front of you? You knew it was a tortilla full of bullshit. That's all you knew before I told you Crunch Wrap Supreme. And that's all you know since I told you Crunch Wrap Supreme. It doesn't mean anything. Why ask me? Like, if you wanted one, you could have gone to the KFC and looked on the fucking top like I did and pointed at the fucking square thing. You just wanted to fucking ask me things to piss me off. He came this close to having his jaw broken. Crunch Wrap Supreme. Don't ask me fucking stupid questions. Or, who you with? I hate that the most. I'm out with my boys. Who? You don't know them. Yeah, but who? Dylan. Do you feel better now I've said a name? You don't know who they are. I could say Dylan or Mike, Oscar. Who gives a shit? You don't know who these people are. If I say you don't know them, why are you asking me who? Like, if I give you a name, you go, oh, all right, okay. How does that improve your knowledge on any level? Garbage. Pointless questions. And if you start to actually think about it, at least 50% of the questions that are asked to people are inane bullshit. I fucking hate it. I can't stand it. I'll be sitting there watching TV. Oh, are you tired? Why? Maybe I am tired, but I'm not going to sleep. Maybe I refuse to sleep for the rest of my life. If you want me to come fuck you, just say, come fuck me. Don't ask me stupid ass questions. Now, I know what you motherfuckers are thinking. Let's troll Tate with pointless questions. Yeah, let's ask him pointless stuff. Who are you with? Let's send him an email. Ooh. It's not funny. I play a lot of chess. Now, as you may know, my father is one of the best chess players in the world. Beautiful tactician. And my father played chess the way I kickbox. No defense. Pure attack. And sometimes he'd lose terribly. Sometimes he would destroy someone. Steamroll. A lot of the best chess players in the world now are not unstoppable forces. They're immovable objects. They just play super safe. They keep everything guarded and they slowly grind you down. My dad didn't do that dumb shit. It was like, yeah, fucking sacrifice the queen, motherfucker. Yeah, sacrifice, fuck you. Like a fucking bad boy. So, from a young age, I played chess. I was actually the youngest ever state chess champion for Indiana. I was chess champion at the age of 5 in the under 12s. I was the youngest person to ever win it at the time. I don't know if it's been beaten since. I played chess for a long time professionally until I moved to England. And then there's no chess scene in England like there is in America. In America, it's really big. In England, it's nothing because England's shit. So I stopped playing chess. But I still play now for fun. I play Ed Latimore. If you know this, Ed Latimore on Twitter, me and him, we have chess beef. If you're wondering who wins, he's good. And I ain't that much better, but I've got that edge. So I love chess. The reason I love chess is because, 2 reasons. It is extremely frustrating. And I like doing something that I can never master. Chess is probably the only thing that makes me feel stupid. Because I'm a smart dude. Anything else I've ever tried to do or learn is easy. Trying to fathom chess is frustrating like fuck. It's so complicated. And 2, chess applies perfectly to life. And you say this, and people go, well, it's a board game. It applies perfectly to life. And if you look at a chessboard, you look at life, and how you strategize and put things in place, a chessboard and life mimic each other perfectly. So the queen is the most powerful piece on the board besides the king. The king is you. The king can't die. If you die, the game's over. You cannot be trapped, you cannot die. So every single piece is disposable besides the king, and that's you. Your queen is your most powerful piece. Now if you're sitting there going, well, why is that true? Your queen is your most powerful piece because how your woman affects your mentality is extremely important. If you have a woman who just negatively damages your brain with constant negative emotion, you're not the man you could be. So that's why your queen's the most powerful piece on the board. You need a woman who is ready to wait for you 10 years when you go to jail. And you need a woman who shuts the fuck up when you tell her to. And it is not easy to find. But that's extremely important. If you're sitting there going, how do I do that? Buy the PhD course. PhD will tell you how. PhD course will tell you how to tell if you have a quality woman or a bad woman. It's all in the course. It's for sale on the website. But your queen is the most powerful piece on the board because it affects your mentality directly. But in a game of chess, in certain situations, sometimes the queen's got to be sacrificed. Sometimes the queen has to die so that you can live. That's how it goes. You got your rooks. Your rooks are your brothers, if you're lucky enough to have a brother. It's the second most powerful piece on the board. On a chessboard, you have 2. I have 1, but 1's enough. Rooks are your brothers. They back shit up. If you ever play chess, you know that rooks are not necessarily a frontline piece. They're always supporting something. You put a rook behind a pawn, and you fire that pawn off the board. Or you put a rook aiming at the king to add pressure. You can attack that square with weaker pieces. That's what rooks are for. You have your knights and bishops. These are close friends. Close friends that you've made. Maybe you'll have 5 close friends in your life that you've known for years and years. People you work together with, people you make money with. If you're sitting there going, I don't have a close friend I make money with, then you're a fucking idiot. Because what are your friends for if it's not for conquering the world? When me and my friends sit down at a fucking chessboard, me and my friends sit down anywhere, all we talk about is how to make more money. That's what me and my friends are interested in. How are you making money today? How are you making money today? How's this working? What if you did this? Da-da-da. World conquering. On a chessboard, you put your bishops and your knights in the right positions to conquer the board. And with your friends, you should be sitting down talking about how to conquer life. And then you have your pawns. And your pawns are employees. Because pawns are the most disposable piece on the board. They're extremely important. And a good pawn can get to the end of the board and become something else. But in general, pawns are there to protect the other pieces. And pawns are there to die. This is the reality of life. And it's reflected perfectly on the chessboard. Now, if you're watching this and you don't know how to play chess, you should fucking learn. Because I guarantee when you have a basic concept of chess, a basic grasp of it, it will change the way you view the world. So if you're sitting there watching this going, oh, but I want to watch anime, or I want to finish this box set, fuck that garbage. You should play chess instead. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a chess course. Now, there's a whole bunch of free chess information on the internet if you want to learn it yourself. But my coach, international master, Eric Kislick, he charges £200 an hour for chess lessons. He's who teaches me now since my father died. He's exceptionally good. And he loves my YouTube videos. He's watched them all and he thinks I'm funny. He's also a Trump supporter, obviously, like all real men are. And he's put together a chess course which is on sale on Amazon and through chess networks. I think he's charging $500 for the course. But he's told me I can sell it on my channel for much, much less. So we're going to put that up there. So if you're basic at chess, you're good at chess, or you've never played before, buy this. Because at the end of the course, you're going to be able to better grasp a chessboard. You're going to learn a whole bunch of shit. You're going to get a new hobby, which is fantastic. We can meet up and have a beer at a game sometime. Plus, you get a better view of the world. Taught by an international master at a fraction of the price.
You motherfuckers are weak. And when I say weak, I mean mentally weak. Because everything starts with a mindset. There is no physical fortitude and there is no financial fortitude without mental fortitude. And most of you motherfuckers are mentally weak. I say this to people all the time. I have a few insults I like to use, and I throw that around a lot. Oh, you're weak. What do you mean I'm weak? You're mentally weak. No, I'm just depressed. You're weak. Get over it. Because people are weak. And every time someone says to me, I'm not weak, I say, you are. They go, no, I'm not. I say, yes, you are. And here's the ironclad proof. And if you want to test yourself now, am I weak or not? Here's the test. So I want you to do 500 press-ups today. One of three things is going to happen. You're going to watch this video and go, nah, you're the weakest of all, you fucking coward. You're watching this, you're going to do 500 press-ups. You're fucking listening to Tate's speech. I'm trying to fix your life. 500 push-ups. How is that going to harm you in any way? It can only make your life better. You might end up in a situation in the next few weeks or months or years where you're hanging from a cliff edge and someone's running to rescue you. And you're hanging on with everything you've got, and they get to you just as they're about to grab you, you lose your grip, and you die by 0.2 seconds, that little tiny fraction. And if you would have done these press-ups, you'd have been strong enough to survive. Or maybe someone's going to come attack you and your family, and these few press-ups you're going to do is going to make you strong enough to fight that attacker off. Because life is like that. It's that close sometimes. So you need to do these fucking press-ups today. You ain't got time to waste. 500. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. You might fucking need this strength. So if you don't do them, you're a real pussy. Second is you're going to have people who watch this video and go, yeah, all right, I'm mentally strong. I'm going to do 500 push-ups now. I'm going to do them. And you're going to start, you're going to get to 47. Then you're going to stop and go, okay, I'll do some more in an hour. And then you're going to do another 33. And what's going to happen, when you get to 261, you're going to sit there and go, well, I tried, and that's not bad for the first day. And, that's a good start. No. I said 500. I didn't say 261. I didn't say 499. I said 500. So you're quitting too. Because you can do 500. Your body will allow you within 24 hours to complete 500 press-ups. But your mind won't do it because it's hard. So you quit like a fucking pussy because you're mentally weak. So you're a pussy too. Third is the kind of people who are going to lie. YouTube comments. I did 500. No, you didn't. Shut the fuck up. You're a fucking liar. And then there's 1% of you who's going to watch this video and go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do 500. And it's going to be hard, and I'm going to want to quit, but I'm actually going to finish it. If you genuinely finish those 500 push-ups, genuinely, then you are not a mentally weak person. So if you're watching this, I know everyone who watches this, everyone in the world thinks they're mentally strong. If you're watching this thinking, I'm mentally strong, you know what you have to do? You haven't got to prove it to me, because I don't give a fuck about you. You have to prove it to yourself. If you're genuinely a mentally strong person and you're not a mentally weak person, as soon as this video ends, you're going to drop down and start those push-ups. And you have 24 hours to get 500 finished. Not 499, 500. If you start the 500 and you quit halfway through, then you're weak. If you never start them, you're weak. If you lie, you're weak. There's only one path to strength. That's through achievement. You can only see the glory of the world at the top of the mountain. You gotta fucking climb that shit. If you're a mentally strong person, I challenge you right now to complete 500 push-ups before you go to sleep. No fucking excuses.
A lot of people ask me fighting questions. And fair enough, I don't fight anymore. I did retire from fight sports very young. I'm 31 years of age. I started kickboxing when I was 17. I was world champion at 23. I became 4 times world champion. I retired from fighting at 28. I then came back to the ring and I got a really bad poke in the eye, which is a very annoying way to end a career at the age of 30. So it should have been a no contest. They're saying I lost, whatever. And I'm still considering fighting again. So people ask me a lot of fight questions. I was an exceptionally good fighter.
Good shot there from Tate!
Fighting is a very difficult thing to learn because you have to reprogram your basic instincts. The human instinct to how to fight is incorrect. You lift your head up and you swing with your hands down to get power, and everything you do instinctually is completely wrong. So it's very difficult to reprogram your instincts on something, especially in fighting, because fighting happens very quickly. It's very savage, it's very fast. But when people do say to me, how do I learn to fight? I say, well, a few things. One, you don't just learn to fight. It's not like, it's not learning how to fucking flip a coin. It's something you have to train constantly. And the second you stop training, your reactions slow down X amount. Secondly, to be able to fight effectively, you also have to be strong. You also have to be fit. There's a whole bunch of other things you have to do. Getting strong and fit, fine. To be a fighter, you have to get strong and fit, plus learn a bunch of shit. So it's not easy. But people often say to me, well, what martial arts should I learn? I'm going to answer that question. If you want to learn to fight, be a boxer. This is coming from a kickboxer. I'm a kickboxer. And even I know that as amazing as my kicks are, they're pretty much useless in most cases of the street. I mean, in a club, I can't really kick. If I have jeans on, I can't really kick. If I slip on grass, it's a big mistake. I probably wouldn't kick in a street fight. It's happened 1 or 2 times to the groin, but in general, I don't kick. I use my hands and I win effectively. Boxing is the best for this reason. People always come at me with, what about wrestling or BJJ? Newsflash, BJJ is fucking useless outside of the cage. And when I say this, a whole bunch of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu players get triggered. I start going, oh, you've never messed with a BJJ guy. Actually wrong. If you look at my career, I've been in the cage 6 times. I broke my hand in 2 of those fights. That's why I stopped cage fighting and continued with kickboxing. I fought Luke Barnett, who was in the UFC. I've won by knockout many times in the cage. So I understand Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I trained Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I fought against Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu professionally. But I'm telling you, for the street, for self-defense, do not waste your time with BJJ or wrestling. And here's why. The number 1 rule of the street is do not go to the ground. You don't know if your opponent has a weapon, like a knife. You don't know if he has a friend who's going to come along and kick you in the face. You don't know if police are going to turn up. You don't know if the whole big corner, all of his friends are going to be running around the corner. You need to be on your feet at all times, ready to run to preserve your life. Rolling around on the floor with some guy is not a good idea. For the reasons I've named plus more. Secondly, a lot of these BJJ moves are ineffective against the rules of the street. Yeah, a triangle choke works in the cage, but it ain't gonna work if someone can bite your fucking balls off. And an armbar ain't gonna work if they're taking a chunk out your fucking skin. And these other things aren't gonna work if they pick up a rock and smash you around the head with it. You try and triangle choke a dude when he can pick you up and slam you on concrete, not an octagon. When he body slams your head on concrete, you tell me how you're gonna get away with that triangle choke without taking damage yourself. It's bullshit. All of it's ineffective on the street. And the most important thing, and this is the most crazy thing about all, when's the last time you've ever seen a fair fight on the street? Ever. I've been in my fair share of street fights. I live in Eastern Europe. I live in a dangerous place. I've been to 60 countries. I'm telling you, I've never seen a fair fight. Every time I was in a fight, I was against multiple opponents. As a striker, as a combatant who can strike, I can deal with multiple opponents. Let me tell you something. You can get the best BJJ player in the world. If he's fighting 2 guys, he's going to lose. Because as soon as he tries to grab one up, the other guy's going to jump on his fucking face. So who cares how good you are at fucking this kind of choke, that kind of choke. You're going to get fucking grounded and pounded or head stomped and beaten up. Rules of street fights. Stay on your feet. Use your hands and be ready to go from attacking to running from your life at the drop of a hat. This is the advice I give you. You want to learn to fight in the street? Box. Do not fuck around with BJJ or wrestling, because let me tell you something, it's a waste of fucking time. Anyone who thinks I'm wrong, I'll challenge you to the following. You and one of your friends come along and try and fight me.
and I'll just use what I know, and we'll see how the fight goes down. I'm guaranteeing you're going to take some shots. I might take some shots. I don't know who you are. But either way, I'll be on my feet. I'll be moving. You're going to get hit in the face. Any BJJ guy in the world, no matter how good you are, you come and fight me and my brother at the same time. And I guarantee you're going to get an ass kicking.
So we're doing the Tate speech on the road today because I've got some work to do. I can't just spend my time spreading wisdom to you motherfuckers for free. With my measly 3,000 subscribers, I ain't making no money from this shit. I'm just fixing the world because I'm a philanthropist. I'm a kind guy. Today we're going to talk about happiness. People say to me all the time, Tate, what's the secret to being happy? What's the secret to being happy? I've got a unique theory on happiness. My theory on happiness is as follows. I'm not a physicist, but I remember from physics, which I did at college level, I didn't do at university level, but they said that in a scientific term, there's not really such thing as cold. Cold is just a lack of heat. Heat has a scientific, you can observe heat scientifically. The atoms move or things jitter or whatever, and heat is generated. But cold isn't a thing. Cold is just a lack of heat. And for that perspective, when people say to me, Tate, how do you be happy? I try to explain to them, happiness isn't a thing. In my view, happiness is just a lack of grief, as cold is just a lack of heat. When I say this to people, they look at me like, oh, what are you talking about? Or, well, that's not true because I don't feel happy. We are not children anymore. We're grown-ups, and grown-ups have responsibilities and stresses, and things are on our shoulders. When you say you want to be happy, what you're saying is you want to feel like you did when you were 2 years old, and you got given those jelly beans, and you were staying up late, and you had no fucking worries in the world. That ain't gonna happen. Unless you literally crack billionaire status, and even if you do, depending on the country you're in, if you're in Saudi Arabia or Russia or whatever, most of these billionaires end up in jail anyway for one reason or another, politically motivated shit. You're a fucking grown-up. You are never gonna have a life that's that carefree. That giddish happiness, that childish happiness you felt inside when you were a child is specifically that. It's childish happiness. Happiness for grown-ups doesn't work that way. Happiness for grown-ups is an absolute lack of grief. And when I say this, people go, oh yeah, but I'm sad. You ain't sad, motherfucker. You ain't sad. Imagine the worst thing that could happen to you. Imagine your entire family's in a car and they get in a car crash in the M1 and they all die. Your wife, your parents, your siblings, all of them die at once. That's the worst thing that can happen to you. Has that happened today? And if you're watching this video and go, no, that hasn't happened today, then you're fucking happy because you're not grief-stricken. You're not completely breaking down in tears in a state of mind where you cannot imagine life ever being the same again. So if you don't feel that way, you are happy. You're just not as happy as you imagine yourself to be as a kid because you're a fucking immature moron. Like everything else in life, happiness is a sliding scale. You're trying to attain a happiness, which you're only going to attain 2 or 3 times in your adult life. So I've won 4 kickboxing world titles. Each time I won one of them, I felt that childish type happiness. When I made my first million, I felt that childish type happiness. When I made my 10th million, I felt that childish like happiness. But in general, besides very, very key events, you're not going to feel that happy every fucking day. It would be abnormal for you to feel that happy every day. And the reason people are taking these antidepressants and going through life making up this complete garbage saying that depression's a thing when it isn't, is because they're trying to find a level of happiness which you are not programmed to experience every fucking day. If you are not grief-stricken, if you are not in a state of mind where you are literally don't know how to go forward, if there's not tears running from your eyes, then you're a happy person. Because happiness, like absolutely everything else, is subjective and it's down to your perception of happiness. I say this all the time. There's a really interesting thing on YouTube you can watch about colors. And there's a tribe in Africa which view color completely different to us. So when we say something's brown or we say something's blue, it's an actual real interesting documentary. I'll try and find it and link it in this video about how language affects how we see. Because to them, 2 very similar shades of blue, and I mean very similar, like I would struggle to decipher between the 2. To them, they have different names. So because they have different names, for them it's very easy to see, as easy as black and white, these 2 different shades of blue. Whereas to me, it's just different, slightly different turquoise. And it's exactly the same as anything else. How you perceive things is how they end up viewing. You view yourself as unhappy when you're unhappy. If you view yourself as happy, if you understand, well, I'm not grief-stricken, so I'm a happy person, and you start to understand that happiness is something you can perceive and you can set the boundaries of, you're setting the boundaries of happiness at the absolute top of that childish, giddy, giggle bullshit What you need to do is extend those boundaries and understand that anything above grief is happiness. People say to me, Tate, how are you happy? I'm happy because I'm not grief-stricken. I'm happy because today none of my family members have died. Both of my arms and both of my legs are still here. We're pushing around in this Bentley. This fucking cement truck right in front of us could come and crash into the side of me and take out my fucking one of my arms. Then I'd be unhappy. But right now, both my arms are working. My family members are alive. I'm just gonna pass this cement truck quickly before anything bad happens. I have nothing to be fucking sad about. And if you're gonna pretend, if you're not smart enough to be able to look at your life and say, my life is not as bad as it could be. I'm not in cereal with no legs and dead family and no food to eat. My life is not over. My life is okay. If you should be able to look at your life like that and be happy, and that's a sign of intelligence. If you refuse to do that, then you're either low IQ, extremely selfish, or most likely an attention-seeking moron. Because we live in a world where people find the easiest way to get attention is to invent ailments. Oh, poor me, I'm depressed. Fuck off. Key to being happiness is to decide you're happy. That's the key to being happy. So anyone, I'm going to make this video because I get asked all the time, Tay, were you happy before you had money? Yeah. Am I happier now I have money? Probably a bit. But that's not what it's about. I've always been happy my entire fucking life because I decided to be happy.
I'm convinced that men must conquer to be happy. When I look at men who are unhappy or men who are depressed, depression's not real, we'll move on. A lot of them are living lives without conquest. They're living lives that are stagnant. A lot of them are living comfortable lives, but they're not living lives that involve conquest. Is the word I use. Conquest is the word, because men are not designed to be comfortable. Men don't want to be comfortable. They want to achieve. They need to feel pain and suffering to conquer something. I've, for a long time, studied history. I find history very interesting. Why do you think the Romans conquered Europe? The Romans conquered Europe. The Mongols conquered a bunch of shit. The British had a huge empire. Why do you think people conquered stuff? People go, oh, for natural resources, for the bollocks. They had no idea what was in any direction. They didn't have Google fucking maps. The Romans didn't have Google maps. They just thought, well, here's some rocks. If I melt these rocks, I can make metal. If I shape the metal in the shape of a sword and I sharpen it, I can walk in this direction and I'll randomly get to a group of people. Then what I'll do is I'll kill all the guys and fuck all the girls and turn all the kids into slaves. Why did they do that? They did that because it's a natural order of men to conquer. They say that this is a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing, because the natural order of men to conquer is what drives men to achieve. So men back then conquered. Now men conquer in different ways. They conquer financially. They work hard in the office, or they build a business to become rich. They don't want to be rich to be rich. They want to be rich because they want to conquer something. Why does Elon Musk want to put rockets in space? Because he has an ego and he wants to conquer space. This conquering drive is what's driven men since the dawn of time. It's not a bad thing and it shouldn't disappear. But for a man to be truly happy, he has to conquer. When I used to fight, people said to me, why do you fight? Because I don't know, I just need to win. I need to win. I need to do something hard. I need to train so I can't walk, and I need to destroy my opponent and be victorious. That's why I fight. And when now I've retired, people say, why do you retire? Because now I'm running multi-million-dollar businesses. I'm still conquering the world. I'm making more money per day than I used to make per month. I'm earning stupid sums of money. That's still conquest. And it's only conquest that keeps me happy. If I were to sell my businesses now, I'd have a lot of money and I'd be comfortable. And I can go to the Maldives and sit in a hotel and be comfortable and just sit there and be comfortable. But I would not be happy because there's no conquest left. There's no attack. There's no victory. There's no pain. There's no suffering. None of that exists. And this is the driving force of men. This is what makes men happy. Diverging, this is also why men, a lot of men, like to fuck a ton of girls. Because there's still an element of conquest to it. It's still a difficult task. You have to convince the girl to sleep with her, etc., etc. There's still an element of conquest to sleep with lots of women. This is why a lot of men prefer to do it. Just for the women out there go, why do men fuck her out there? Because we're born to fuck girls. Because we're designed to fuck girls. We've been evolutionary programmed to fuck girls. It was always the woman who was the hard one to fuck, and the man had to run around and fuck as much as possible. It's the same with males and females in nearly every species. Men fuck lots and lots of different females. One of them gets pregnant, the seed is spread. That's how it goes. That was me divulging. The point is, men often say to me, a lot of guys message me and say, Tate, your life's so good. You got a Lambo, you got a ton of big booty cuties, you're tall, 6'4", you're sexy as fuck, you're muscly, you're smart, you're a G. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Stop telling me I know. The point is, I say, why? How do I get like you? How do I be happy? Find something to conquer. Because without conquest, if you're living a comfortable life, even if you're living a nice life, even if you're living a happy life, even if you're living an exciting life, you will still always be sad inside.
You need to find a way to fight and to win. That's a simple way to say it. Doesn't matter whether it's financial, doesn't matter whether it's physical, doesn't matter what it is. You need to fight, you need to win, because it's conquest which is the key to happiness for a man.
A lot of guys on Twitter say, real men cry, and if women can cry, men can cry too. There's nothing wrong with it. And there absolutely is something wrong with it, and I'll explain to you why. Life as a man is far more difficult than life as a woman. And one of the key components of manhood always has been and always will be, we have the ability to control ourselves and not act emotionally. Females are more emotionally driven, more emotionally impulsive than a good man should be. Saying that I felt like crying so I cried, this makes me a real man, is as stupid as me saying, well, I felt like smashing his face in, so I smashed his face in. This makes me a real man. No, the hallmark of a real man is controlling himself, controlling his emotions, and acting appropriately regardless of how he feels. And throughout human history, this is exactly how men had to live their lives. Do you think that the teenagers storming the beaches of Normandy felt like crying? Of course they did. But they also knew that that wasn't the correct thing for them to do. They had a duty to commit to, they had honor, and they did what they were supposed to do regardless of how they felt. That is the mark of a man. Weakness and absolute submission to your feelings are not the hallmarks of men. It's not the way society has ever been built. It's never been built off the backs of men who were crying their eyes out because they felt like crying. The only kind of men who advocate crying are the kind of men who do not have enough self-control to prevent themselves from crying. Because we're all human. There's times in your life, as a man, you're going to feel like crying. It's going to happen. But what you're supposed to do is not cry. Because this is a test in mental fortitude. And there is no physical fortitude, there's no financial fortitude, there's no other type of fortitude without mental fortitude. So when you feel like crying, you ensure you do not cry. And you act appropriately as a man should. The men who say no, succumb instantly to your emotions, are the kind of people who have no self-control. And let me tell you something about men who have no self-control. Men who live without self-control are the kind of men who cry when their girlfriend cheats on them, because she certainly does, because she doesn't respect the little crybaby, and she's only with you because she's ugly as fuck and she has to settle for a little soy boy pussy like you. And these guys sitting there, what they're trying to do by telling you to cry is drag you down to their level. They look at people like me, and I say, Ross, that's a big G. He's out there, he's fucking women, he's got his Lambo, he's a multi-millionaire, self-made, 6'4", 4 times kickboxing world champion, chess genius. I don't like the way he's living his life because he's kicking too much ass. You need to cry more. He's trying to drag me down to his level so I can be a little crybaby like him. And he wants everyone else who reads his tweets to be a crybaby too, because the more little weaklings he can create, the less bad he'll feel about himself. No man wants to be a little crybaby if they're honest with themselves, and no woman certainly wants to fuck a little crybaby. So don't listen to the advice of people who are living lives you wouldn't want to live. What's actually interesting is, I always use this analogy, if you could build yourself from the ground up, if you could literally just, like from a video game, just tick characteristic boxes and build yourself, nobody would choose to be a liberal soy boy. Nobody would choose to be a small, weak guy who has to cry when he gets upset. Everyone, when they get that application form from God saying build yourself for your next life, would tick tall, strong, smart, mentally tough, doesn't cry, gets pussy, rich. They tick all the things they tell me I'm bad, all the assets I have, everything that I am, they tell me is bad. But if they had the choice to have these things instantly, they would sign up. And the reason they don't have these things is because all of these things come with hard work. To be physically strong, you have to work out. That's difficult. To be financially independent, you have to be smart. That's difficult. So they don't have these things because they're hard for them to acquire, but if they're very easy for them to acquire, they'd have them all. Nobody wants to be a crybaby. The mark of being a real man is not being a crybaby. The mark of a real man is walking down the street, 5 guys with knives coming up to try and rape your girlfriend, and you look at them in the face and saying, fuck you. It's not crumbling into a ball, crying your eyes out and say, I have emotions too. That just makes you a bitch.